If you are someone who loves their video games with some serious lore around it, the Ninja Gaiden series is just the one for you. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most exciting developments in the Ninja Gaiden franchise since its original trilogy wrapped up. After a 13-year wait, we finally got a new mainline Ninja Gaiden game. And honestly, it's unlike anything we've seen before in the series. The team at PlatinumGames didn't just bring Ryu Hayabusa back for round 4. Instead, they made the bold decision to introduce us to an entirely new protagonist. And this character is absolutely fascinating. His name is Yakumo, and he carries with him a curse that's been haunting his entire bloodline for generations. So let's break down exactly who this guy is, why he matters to the franchise, and what makes his story so compelling. The Shadow of Legacy. Who is Yakumo? So, here's the thing. Yakumo isn't just some random ninja they threw into the story to shake things up. He's a young prodigy from the Raven clan, which, for those of you who aren't super familiar with Ninja Gaiden lore, is basically the rival clan to the legendary Hayabusa clan that Ryu comes from. Now, this detail is massive because it immediately establishes this inherent tension between Yakumo and Ryu. Right from the jump, while the Hayabusa clan gets all the glory and prestige in the ninja world, the Raven clan has spent generations doing the dirty work that more respectable clans won't even touch. They're basically living in the shadows, and Yakumo is desperate to change that legacy. What's really interesting about Yakumo's design is how intentional every detail is. The developers at PlatinumGames describe him as a ninja prodigy. He's smaller and more slender than Ryu, with a high dex stat if you're thinking about it in RPG terms. The art director, Tomoko Nishi, specifically designed him this way to emphasize speed and technical prowess over brute strength. They wanted players to feel the overwhelming sense of adversity that Yakumo faces, and his smaller stature compared to enemies reinforces that feeling. It makes every encounter feel more desperate, more dangerous. You're constantly outmatched, constantly fighting against the odds. And that's exactly the vibe they were going for with this character. A bloodline curse that defines everything. Now, let's talk about the curse because this is the heart of Yakumo's entire story arc. Yakumo is a direct descendant of the Dark Dragon. The Raven clan literally descended from the Dark Dragon, one of the divine dragon gods. That's not just some random historical fact. That's the defining aspect of who Yakumo is as a character. For generations, this has been a stain on the Raven clan's honor. They're marked by this connection to the very evil their ninja are supposed to be fighting against. Imagine growing up your entire life knowing that your bloodline is tied to something so fundamentally evil, so universally despised. That's the burden Yakumo carries every single day. The prophecy that sets the entire game in motion states that only a Raven clan ninja, only someone with this cursed bloodline, can truly purify and defeat the Dark Dragon once and for all. So Yakumo becomes the clan's last hope to redeem themselves, to finally break free from the shadow that's been haunting them since the beginning. The Dark Dragon's reign of dark rot. To really understand why Yakumo's mission matters, we need to talk about what's happening in Tokyo when this game takes place. Years before Ninja Gaiden 4 begins, Ryu Hayabusa faced the Dark Dragon and managed to stop it, but he couldn't fully destroy it. The Dark Dragon's corpse remains coiled around Tokyo like some kind of monstrous skeletal prison, and from this husk pours an endless rain called the Rain of Dark Rot. This rain causes Tokyo to overlap with the underworld itself, creating this absolutely haunting cyberpunk nightmare aesthetic, where reality and the supernatural are bleeding together. The city had to be evacuated and quarantined by the Divine Dragon Order, This mysterious paramilitary force that's basically trying to contain the disaster. That's what Yakumo walks into at the beginning of his journey. That's the scale of what he has to fix. And the only way to stop it, to save Tokyo, is for someone from the Raven clan to complete what Ryu couldn't, permanently eliminate the Dark Dragon.
That mask. You're a ninja of the Raven clan. Come to end my life like in your prophecy, I'm guessing?
Meeting Siori, the priestess with her own secrets. Yakumo's mission begins with what seems like a straightforward assassination. He's sent to infiltrate a Divine Dragon Order prison facility to kill Siori, the Dark Dragon's priestess. But nothing is what it seems on the surface. When Yakumo confronts Siori, she reveals something shocking. If she dies, there's no way to fully defeat the Dark Dragon. She's the only person who holds the knowledge and power to break the seals that are imprisoning it. So instead of killing her, Siori convinces Yakumo to do the opposite. She wants him to help her escape, and, together, they can work toward actually purifying the Dark Dragon by breaking the seals one by one and ultimately resurrecting it. As they work together to break the seals, we see a genuine relationship developing between Yakumo and Siori. He's fighting for his clan, for redemption, for a chance to finally matter in this world. But he's also starting to care about this woman, this priestess who's been trapped by her own connection to the Dark Dragon. It's a human connection in the middle of this apocalyptic scenario. And that's what makes Ninja Gaiden 4 so much more emotionally resonant than previous entries in the series. The clash with legend Yakumo vs Ryu. As Yakumo and Siori are breaking the seals throughout Tokyo, they inevitably cross paths with Ryu Hayabusa and the Divine Dragon Order's Grand General Kagachi. When Ryu confronts Yakumo, everything changes. Ryu is the living legend of the ninja world, the guy who stopped the Dark Dragon before, the warrior that every ninja is measured against. And here's this young, ambitious kid from the rival clan thinking he can do what Ryu couldn't. The way the game handles this dynamic is absolutely masterful. From Yakumo's perspective, Ryu is this overwhelming, nearly impossible obstacle. He's the legendary ninja, the guy who might as well be a god. Siori had asked Ryu earlier to trust Yakumo with a special item if he ever deemed him worthy. So Ryu's entire conflict with Yakumo throughout the game is actually a prolonged test to see if this young ninja has what it takes to carry the burden that Ryu himself couldn't. The Blood Raven form, Yakumo's unique power. Now, let's talk about what makes Yakumo different from Ryu in terms of actual combat capabilities. While Ryu uses more traditional ninja weapons and techniques like the Flying Swallow and Izuna Drop, Yakumo employs something called the Blood Raven form. This is a technique that allows him to manipulate blood, his own and that of his enemies, to create powerful weapons and devastating attacks that can strike down multiple foes at once. This ability is thematically significant. Yakumo's cursed bloodline, his connection to the Dark Dragon, it's woven directly into his fighting style. He's literally weaponizing the very thing that makes him cursed. There's this beautiful irony there. The curse that's supposed to define him as lesser, as tainted, is actually his greatest strength. It's the tool that allows him to do what Ryu couldn't, to step into the role that's been waiting for someone brave enough to embrace it. The tragedy of Siori and the revelation of Achilles. The story reaches its climax at the final seal, located atop the Divine Dragon Order's headquarters, the Dragon's Maw. This is where everything comes to a head, and it's devastating. Siori performs a ritual to expose the Dark Dragon's soul within her body, and she asks Yakumo to kill her. He hesitates, torn between his duty as a ninja and his feelings for this woman he's come to care about. And in that moment of hesitation, everything falls apart. Misaki, who's been presented as a trusted member of the Raven clan, reveals himself to be the great fiend Achilles, the same entity who originally summoned the Dark Dragon in the first place. Achilles stabs Siori, freeing the Dark Dragon before Yakumo can do anything about it. And as Siori dies in Yakumo's arms, she pleads with him to purify the Dark Dragon, to finish what they started together. It's this heartbreaking moment where the player genuinely feels the weight of Yakumo's mission. This isn't just about saving a city or fulfilling a prophecy anymore. It's about honouring the memory of someone he cared about. The worthy successor, Ryu's final gift. After Siori's death, Ryu appears and challenges Yakumo to one final duel. This is a test of worthiness. Ryu needs to know, without a doubt, that Yakumo is capable of completing this task. And when Yakumo proves himself in combat, Ryu does something remarkable. He hands over the Dark Dragon Jewel, a gift that Siori had entrusted to him earlier. The jewel transforms into the Dark Dragon Blade, a weapon specifically designed to kill the Dark Dragon when wielded by a Raven Clan ninja. This moment is absolutely crucial because it represents the passing of the torch. Ryu, the legendary ninja who couldn't finish this fight, is acknowledging that Yakumo is the one who can. He's the right ninja for this specific battle, and Ryu has the wisdom and humility to recognize that. Redemption through the final battle and legacy. Yakumo then confronts the Dark Dragon itself on the roof of DDO headquarters, and the battle is everything you'd expect from a final confrontation in a game like this. The Dark Dragon even takes on Yakumo's form during the second phase, which is such a cool visual representation of how intertwined Yakumo's identity has become with this creature he's been hunting. But Yakumo defeats it, and in doing so, he breaks the curse that's defined his entire existence. When the credits roll and you can finally walk through Tokyo, you see something that hasn't existed for years. Clear skies. The cursed rain has stopped. The city can breathe again, and Yakumo has redeemed his entire bloodline. The Raven clan can finally step out of the shadows of the Hayabusa clan. They can stop being seen as the servants of a curse and start being recognized for what they actually are: ninjas capable of extraordinary things. Marvelous verdict, the perfect new beginning. What I love most about Yakumo as a protagonist is that he's allowed to be flawed, desperate, and even a little arrogant at times. He's not trying to be the legendary Ryu Hayabusa 2.0. He's his own character with his own struggles, his own relationships, and his own journey toward redemption. Ninja Gaiden 4 successfully introduced a new face to the franchise, while honouring what made the original series great, and Yakumo is the heart of that success. The curse that defined the Dragon Clan, that shadowed Yakumo his entire life, ultimately becomes the source of his greatest strength. That's the real story here, that sometimes our greatest weaknesses, our deepest shames, can be transformed into our most powerful tools for change. And if that's not a message worth exploring through the lens of a badass action game, I don't know what is. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive into Ninja Gaiden 4, and let me know in the comments below what you think of this.